Hello, this is my first talking video for a while, so I'm super excited about it. I normally don't do talking videos because I kind of figure if I don't have enough time to clean up my room, I probably shouldn't do YouTube videos. But yeah. But this video is really important. It's like the most important invention ever. So I had to do the video. So yeah, the best invention ever that I came up with. Uh, it's a call to action for everybody in the world to take it upon themselves to make the world a better place. Kind of like the Michael Jackson song "Man in the Mirror," in a very real, solid way that nobody can provide an excuse for why they wouldn't want to do it, because there's, you know, and so this is it. Let me tell you what it is. It is the bi-weekly, every 2 week, hour-long, right? Just 1 hour every 2 weeks, history test. So what you do is you get a random number generator. They have them on the internet. So you get a decade that matches a number. So if you wanted to do the ADs, there were 20 decades between 0 and now. So you set it from 0 to 200, and then you just go click. And it'll go to a number, and you have 1 minute to talk about that decade. Or not a minute, you just talk about that decade. And then you hit click again, and then you talk about the decade. No. You have 1 minute to talk about the decade. You have to spend a whole minute on the decade. But and then so after the hour you do 60, and then you grade it, you know. And so this is good in lots of ways. One way is when grading it is fun because you can analyze what you knew of stuff, and you'll learn as you analyze it about history. And it's a simple point system. It's just I actually haven't thought that out in my head yet. I should do that now. But certain points for what you. I think I did, but I forgot. Certain points what you you get for different things that you get right, and so then you just grade yourself, and then you just put it up on your website, and every 2 weeks you have the grade, and so you can put that on your website, your grades for your history. And you can set it for ancient history too. And then you can set it for the 20th century, like set it from 0 to 100, and then every year, And so that'll motivate you to really study history, because you'll realize how bad at history you actually are, because history is really big. There's lots of, 200 decades to BC, and then if you want to go to 4,000 BC, 6,000 BC, that's another 600, so you'll constantly be reminded of how little you know, so which will motivate you to learn more, and it'll motivate you to have a more well-rounded knowledge of history. And so, it doesn't cost money because you don't need any resources. It's just the website, and it's a perfect way to motivate people or challenge people to share what they know, and to a good mechanism to force the society to become educated. When you expose people, when it's a culture where you have to do it, you have to take the test, you have to learn history, and because it's really easy to know how good at history you are because you just film it. All you need is your computer or video camera, and so you just put the video camera down and film yourself talking. Okay, here I'm doing it this century, and then you pick up the video camera, you point it to the computer, You hit the button, you see it go to the decade, and then you look at the chart that says what decade it is, and you point it back to you to show that you don't have any control over which one of these 200 decades you're getting pointed to. And then you do it every 2 weeks to show how you do it like that every 2 weeks. It'll make a really good history, and it's the best way, foolproof, cheapest, easiest way to prove how good at history we all are, and to motivate us to get better. So I'll do this. I want to do it myself, definitely. I have a good way to study history on my website. I have my timeline, and you can, when I get it fixed, you can click on the different things in the timeline, and it'll take you to the book that you can listen to for free on Kindle or just MP3 from LibriVox. And so when you take the test and you don't do well in a certain decade, you can pinpoint and then study that, and to try to do better in the next one. And then it'd be fun to chart how you improve, and see, that's part of bike school. It's this. There's two aspects to bike school. There's what your level is on the bike, and I have that charted on my website. But then there's what your level is academically, and all that matters, all that I have is history. I blocked out stuff that people, I think, in our culture, mistake as intelligence when it's just mind games. Like skills that make you money in this world, but they're not skills that have helped you, that will help you in the long run. Or it's just a temporary skill to make money because the way the nature of the economy is now. So we need to distinguish the difference between proper education and just mental masturbation, because there's a limited amount of knowledge that we can absorb and retain in our brains, and so we should be careful. We should pick and choose of what knowledge we're going to let absorb and what we'll get used to, because if you get used to junk knowledge, you'll just become accustomed to it like it's junk food, and you'll get hooked on it. But if you get hooked on real history and then realizing, oh my God, there's so much to learn and it's so interesting, then you get sucked into it, and then that's where your taste will be. So, that history test is the best way to do it. And the best way to study history is by listening to history books. And the best way to do that is by listening while riding your bike. They go perfectly together. But yeah, I want to do the test. Maybe I should do the test while I'm really stoned. I'm really stoned now. You know what I should? Oh my God, I originally did this video to challenge people to try to do it, eventually. But I think it backfired on me, and I just ended up challenging myself. Even though I'm stoned, I really should, because then that'll make me motivated to diversify. I think that's the problem with education that we have, is we don't diversify. We get too stuck in one certain subject, and it's just too difficult to it's either too difficult to study other things, or you just don't think of it. Like me, I study history, and then I kind of get stuck on ancient Rome, and maybe I should listen to Italy from the 1800s or something. Yeah. Actually, I lost my train of thought, but my website works really well with that. You can go back to my free audio history books of Kindle and LibriVox, and then just highlight the whole page, and then just hit play. And it's like an hour, but you listen to, all of the contents of all the books, so you know which book you want to listen to. But, oh yeah, so that's what I was talking about. I challenged myself to take the test. So yeah, high. Because then I'll take the test, I'll get my ass kicked, I'll show everybody how much of a dumbass I am. But because I'm really not learning that much history, because I smoke so much weed, you're not really absorbing as much. I'm more creating new stuff, like in Google Earth. But yeah, to take the test would challenge me because then I'd be like, oh man, I blew that one, I blew that one, I blew that one, and then I'd want to study different epochs of history more, and to do it really high would be a good idea, I think, because it, uh, you want to make it real in the way that our culture is now. We have this real lopsided culture with wealth discrepancy and with like YouTube stardom and all that kind of stuff. People think that making a video, an educational video, it has to be like polished or else you're an idiot. We need to encourage because we need to encourage everybody to do videos because I saw a video saying that they figured out how to make unlimited gigabyte storage with a new kind of technology. I can't remember how it went, but I should look at that again. Yeah, so just make a culture where it then encourages everybody to do that, and then everybody will be smart. The best way to educate yourself generally is to study history, because then you can plug in what went right and what went wrong, into now, and we'll know the right policy decisions to make now, and be able to have a positive future to point towards and to have specific goals, know what to do. So, nobody can argue against studying history. All people can do is argue what history was, but you can't argue what's in the history books. So, I was going to say something, but I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So it's actually good that I'm really high doing it because you need to show people that it's not for just a few people. It's for everybody. There's no special few. And so if you do the video, what you really want to show is the enthusiasm for that lifestyle. And even if you're doing, it doesn't matter what place you are or how good you are. Because most people suck, and whenever you start something, the very beginning, you're not that good anyway, Think of it like in terms of a technology. It's like a mental technology. So right now, if I were to do historical videos, I'd be like Charles Lindbergh trying to fly across the ocean. It would be more difficult, but in the future, when everybody is good at history and, people just, maybe in the future, people won't smoke as much weed because there'll be less need to think creatively to create stuff because it was already created, so you can just study history sober and get really good. So anyway, it's not about showing how good at history are or teaching things. It's about getting the lifestyle going. So I just challenged myself. Okay, so, well, I guess I should do it pretty soon. I think I'll do it really high. I need to create the page first. I guess I'll make the page. It shouldn't take that long, though. I would just make a little chart on my website. I just make a page or a chart on one of the pages. And I just 1 to 200 and which one that means on what number it means to what is attached to what decade for AD and BC, and then make a chart that records the test scores every 2 weeks, and and figure out a way to judge it really quickly. But the thing is, you can judge your videos very quickly without taking any extra time because you all have it memorized right there in your head. It was all fresh in your memory. It just happened. So you can just grade yourself right away and go, okay. In fact, I would include the grading in the video. At the end of in the video, you just review it. And you go, okay, this decade, I give myself this because I remember this and this. You probably need to look at it with a timeline, like the one on my website, to check what you missed and what you got. And then just give yourself a grade real quick, and boom, And somebody might say, "Oh, if you're grading yourself, then it's easy to cheat." But no, because it's on YouTube. If somebody did a video on YouTube, they got their ass kicked on the history test, and then they gave themselves a really good grade. and then somebody else did a video that was really good and they gave themselves not quite as good of a grade, it would just become clear that those two people had different grading criteria, you know? So, eventually when it becomes more part of culture, you would have other third parties step in to lots of different people step in to judge, um, to give grades on all of the people who do it. So to standardize it. Anyways, I think I have talked long enough. I think I'll try to do the thing pretty soon. Yeah, when I have some time off. The first time I have some time off, I need to pick up my room. So right now I'm drawing region 8 of Rho on Google Earth, right? And it's the first region that I'm trying to finish completely. So I want to finish the whole thing completely to see what it looks like. Walk around because it's amazing. It makes me feel like I'm in ancient Rome. Okay, enough talking. Peace out.